Got about 2 minutes. Yeah, good. About 8. Can you see the shared screen?
Yeah.
Good. All right. You there? I think it's 10 o'clock, isn't it?
Yes.
Yep. All right, good. I'll give it 2 minutes and let a few more people come in, and we'll get started. You know what I should do, Michelle? I was thinking if I put this here, they can see. I know if I put it here.
I mean, people see the calendar or the screen.
Yeah. This is why I've been told on to Travis. I want to set up something in the back there, so it's all right, we're going to get started. Okay, good morning, everybody. We've got a couple of people here this morning who have joined us, and they're actually parents of a child that's joining the school next academic year. So welcome and welcome to UIA, and thank you very much for joining us today. To all the people online, good morning, ahau gozaimasu. Michelle, how many people do we have here at the moment?
Excluding in myself, 15.
15 people. We've got 15 parents in this morning. 17 parents in this morning. I'm sure we're going to get more parents as the morning rolls on. I'd like to thank Miss Michelle Kruger. She's here. She's helping me and the technical side offsider. There she is.
Hi.
There she is. Waving away. Thank you, Michelle. This morning, we're going to be walking through the change of calendar information. Now, I sent out a survey probably 5 weeks ago or so, and giving everybody the opportunity to give some feedback about the proposed calendar changes. Today, we're going to go through that feedback, and I'm going to try and help people to understand why the school is proposing this calendar change. What are the upsides? What are the challenges we're going to have? And potentially what is our rollout time. So great opportunity. Looking forward to hearing from the audience and trying to hopefully demystify and clarify any concerns that people may have. All right, you can see there, these are basically the questions that we sent out, you know, and I'm going to go through each one of those and start walking people through it. We had a fantastic fantastic return on results. We had about 247 people give us an indication of their feelings about this calendar change. So it's a good, strong response, and it gives us a clear indication about what the community would like. All right, so the big question, why are we proposing a calendar change? For those parents that have students, and I'll share all the slide presentations and all the documentation with the entire community, including yourselves. So don't worry too much about taking screenshots, etc. This is all going to be freely in the Freedom of Information Act of UIA. We're going to share out all this information with people. There is nothing here that we don't want to be able people to have clarity about. So why are we doing it? Now, predominantly, the number one reason is that we want to align our academic year with the Cambridge calendar, the Cambridge External Assessment Calendar. Now, for a school in our situation, and as for most international schools in Japan, they run on a Northern Hemisphere calendar. Now, the Northern Hemisphere calendar runs basically from August to June, July, depending on the school, a little bit of variation. The important aspects for Cambridge's assessment period is basically April to June. Our students, our grade 12 students, graduation this year was June the 15th, and a week prior to that, the last exam occurred for the last grade 12 student. So when you think about the timing and the structure of that, UIA's current calendar finishes in March and starts in April. But our summative final assessments for Checkpoint, for IGCSE, for AS level and A level occur between April and June. Now, the issue becomes our students have finished their academic 12-month period on March 31st, or in our case, March 15th. So we end up having a cohort with a foot in 2 academic years. It's a nightmare for the students. It's a nightmare for the school to make sure you're organising structured work to make sure that we're staying true to the work they've done in grade 10 or grade 11, even though they've theoretically moved into their next grade. So when I talk about this extended year, the extended year that I've been talking about from 2025 to 2026, in fact, grade 10, grade 11 and grade 12 are already predominantly on this extended year. That is the major driver behind why we want to align our calendar. On the proposed calendar, after the extended year, all students would start their academic year the second or last week of August, and all students, except for grade 12, would finish their academic year late June, early July. Our grade 12 would finish their academic year in June. So the grade 10s would finish their IGCSE exams. They'd have 6 weeks or so to finish out the school year, go on their summer break, come back, the new academic year would begin the year after. All right? One of the really challenging aspects right now is our checkpoint exams. So our grade 5s, the checkpoint exam is geared towards grade 5 and grade 8. All right? That's when Cambridge is expecting the students to be doing their checkpoint exam. But again, because our grade 5s finish on the 15th of March, they actually sit the checkpoint exam as grade 6 students. Hello, how are you? Grab a chair, make yourself at home. Our grade 5s do their checkpoint exams, which is applicable for grade 5, but they don't do them till grade 6. Our grade 8s do their checkpoint exams when they're grade 9s, and they're actually already into their IGCSE program because it's a 2-year program. So there is a lot of misalignment with our learning goals and the pathway for our students, that my initial response when I first came to UIA a little bit over 2 years ago was, first thing we have to do is change the calendar, because we are not being as supportive of learning. We are not aligned to supporting learning in the most effective way. So that was the major driver behind why the school has proposed this calendar change. So I've just gone through all of that. And people will say, oh, but it doesn't align with Japan. Well, it may not align with state schools in Japan. And I did lots of research, and it may not align with all Indian schools, all right? But when I'm talking to teachers and leaders from those areas, they say, well, Japan, we know at least 30 of the international schools are working on a August to July calendar. Our universities that our students predominantly go to are working on a September intake. The Japanese-speaking Japanese universities, yes, they do an April intake, but the number of our students who graduate out of grade 12 that go to Japanese-speaking universities is almost minimal. We have our grade 12 students, of our grade 12 students, I can think of 3 that are going to Japanese international universities, and they're all starting their intake in September. One of our boys is going to an Indian university, and he started this week. So the alignment just continues to reinforce why this is the most effective way to support our students. You know, and people then speak to me, and then we'll talk about this a bit later. They said, what about if our child wants to transfer to another school? If your child is transferring to another school outside of Japan and you are in the Northern Hemisphere, they will be on a Northern Hemisphere calendar. In Australia, no, it's a January to December. In Hong Kong, in New Zealand, South Africa's on Northern Hemisphere. They're on...
The private international schools are Northern Hemisphere. The public schools are January to December.
January to December. So we end up with this uncomfortable relationship with the calendar that we can solve, albeit with a few challenges. It's not an easy thing to change a school calendar, but we know in our educational minds, our purest of ways, that this is the motivational piece behind this calendar change. So you can see there, European universities, they're all September, October intakes. American universities, definitely all September intakes. If you're moving to another school outside of Japan, or if you're moving to another school within Japan, that's one of the international schools, St. Maur's, K International, Aoba, St. Mary's, Seisen, Sacred Heart, they are all August start international schools. And I'm talking Nagoya International School, Kyoto International School, Fukuoka International School. They are all an August to June, July calendar. And so we're talking about some of the most quality international schools here in Japan. All right. So that was the first question. Why are we proposing the change? What would students study during semester 3? Okay, so this has been a big question. Now, many people know we actually began this process about 1.5 years ago. I started to hold meetings with parents and focus groups, and we got some inputs from people, and we as a staff, we began that process for planning for this semester 3 1.5 years ago. All right. So three semesters will allow us to break the year into academically achievable sections. Staff have already planned for an 18-week semester. During semester 3, the students in grade 10 through to grade 12, they're still on their same pathway. They are still undergoing, nothing changes for them with this change of calendar, because they are still sitting. The grade 10s, 11s and 12s begin on our current calendar, they begin their external examination period about 2 weeks after we come back from the start of our new academic year. So, you got any questions from the audiences yet, Michelle?
No, but they're welcome to type, and I will address them.
Yep, good, fantastic. I'll give everybody the opportunity. All right, here you can see And again, I'm going to supply this out to everybody. I asked, and the divisional heads worked with all the staff, okay, plan an 18-week semester for an extra extension of the school year. So you've got an example here of kindergarten, K2 class, a grade 8 maths class, and a grade 4 English class. And you can see, so this is a continuation of the existing program, and these are the units that they came up with in preparation for this 18-week term. You can see here, grade 8 maths. Okay, they're going to go into checkpoint and pass paper practice for 5 weeks in preparation to try and, achieve their best in checkpoint. Then they move into numbers calculations. We were proposing a week without walls there, but we've now moved that into September. So there'll be a little bit of planning to go on there. But you can see there, okay, there are the units that they have planned already to provide through that. In K2, there's their units, unit 9, 10, 11. So they're going to deep dive into transportation, health, nutrition, our universe, and then a field trips at the end of the academic year. And English for grade 4, all right? So they're looking at Matilda, the novel, great book. They're looking at some work in the thespian arts, in theatre, acting, practice and music. You can see the teachers have already begun their planning for this extended academic year. This will give them the opportunity to possibly diverse into other areas and importantly go potentially deeper into some of the areas instead of having to push through it because of time constraints. Believe it or not, a school academic year is challenging in planning, and you always seem like you push to try and get through all the content. This actual academic year gives us a little bit of breathing space for a year to be able to present effective units of learning, and there would still be a semester 2 exam, there would still be semester 2 parent-teacher conferences, there'd still be a semester 3 exam period, there would still be a semester 3 report. So in this one academic year, you're going to get 3 parent-teacher conferences and you're going to get 3 semesters of reports. And what we would do on the 3rd semester, we will create a special bespoke report so that if your child or you move on to another school, we would have an explanation on that report as, okay, why was there 3 reports in that year? And be an explanation of this was an adjustment year for the school as it changed the school calendar. And then this unique year, we're going to have a 3rd semester. So we believe in making sure everybody understands the scenario that we're trying to create here. All right. Now, here's the proposed timeline. Here's our current academic year, April to March. Our new academic year will be from April 2025 to July 2026. And then I want to say August the 24th will be the start of the new academic year in 2026. And that will be a 12-month academic year. And we'll all breathe a big sigh of relief because at the end of the Cambridge assessment period, our students will have officially finished that section of their schooling and they can dust themselves off, particularly grade 10 and grade 11, and then start mentally preparing themselves and the teachers can start helping them transition into their new academic year. As opposed to right now, finishing grade 10, IGCSE, but still having the pressure of staying in grade 10 to complete their grades, even though they're now they're officially in grade 11. We roll them over. So, okay, again, I keep repeating, these slides will all be available to you. Here's our survey results. You can see here the community is very much in support of yes. All right, 57% of the 247 said yes, we want this to happen. Of the unsures, there were a lot of questions about what's going to happen in semester 3, which I think I'm helping people understand better. There'll be some questions about birth dates and the impact on students, and I'm going to address that. There were some questions about financial implications, and I'm going to address that. So you can see 20%, and the 20% of the people, a lot of these questions are coming from the no portion of the survey. Okay, I'm worried about my child doing, what are they going to do in semester 3? Okay, why do we have to change if my child wants to move to another school? And if I'm going to be brutally honest, my concern is not about your child moving to another school. My concern is about the pathway that we're providing at this school. If you're concerned about moving to another school and I want to do this, well, then maybe we're not the right school for you. I say that unselfishly. I will be very selfish about what we're trying to provide for your kids that makes sense and it makes logical sense and it's effective for them getting to realise their potentially tertiary dreams, which universities they want to get into, and it streamlines it all. I can't emphasise enough, no matter what happens with this change, UIA students still graduate at exactly the same time. There is no extension in their academic life because we're changing this calendar. All right? Grade 12 have always and will always graduate in June, the second week in June, as a UIA student. On this extended calendar, on the current calendar, doesn't make any difference. Okay? All right, school fees. Now, there will be no extra tuition in the fee structure due to the change in calendar. What would have been semester 1 fees for the next academic year will now be the fee for semester 3. We will send out a complete accounts understanding. Like for instance, those parents that want to pay the tuition fee lump sum for 1 year, you'll be able to pay tuition lump sum for 1 year, and then you'll be able to pay tuition lump sum for the semester 3. So you wouldn't be asked to pay a lump sum a yearly fee in the extended year for 16 months or 17 months. It'll still be broken into, and you'll still receive the discount of paying upfront for 1 year, but it won't be that 16-month 1 year. It'll be 12 months and then the 4 months on top of that. All right. Everything else would still be exactly the same. Monthly payments will be monthly payments. It's just there's 16 of them. There'll still be four breakdowns of semester if you're paying quarterly. All right. There is some impact on the subsidy for kindergarten. All right. Now, I will most likely have another meeting specifically for kindergarten to talk about the subsidy. What we know right now, in the extended year, K3 will not receive the subsidy in semester 3 because they will have already received the subsidy for 12 months. They won't receive the award subsidy for semester 3. When we move to the new academic year, August through to July, K1 will receive a ward-based subsidy, and that's dependent on the ward. All right? Some of this information we're only just starting to be able to extract. We've been working hard to make sure we're giving everybody the information. So K1 will only receive a reduced subsidy in from August to March, and then they receive the full subsidy from March through to July. K2 and K3 will receive the full ward subsidy for the entire academic year in the new academic year based from August to July. Again, I am going to have another session just specifically for the kindergarten parents so I can walk them through the K3, the kindergarten subsidy. Okay, question. Well, I want to say one more thing, then I'll get to a question. And please note that the school is planning, and this has nothing to do with the changing calendar, the school is planning an overall tuition increase from 2025 to 2026, and details will follow. Okay? Michelle, there is a question from the audience.
Yeah, so
Who's asking it?
I am really sorry if I'm butchering your name, Ms. Nafshin Ishatik.
Okay.
That's how you pronounce your name. She says, my daughter was admitted in UIA according to Japanese calendar age requirement.
Correct.
She is a grade behind according to calendar. Now with the change in academic year, she will be a grade behind. Will the grade be adjusted according to her age requirement as per the fall calendar?
All students that are already in the UIA system will maintain where they are.
So in other words, no, she will not.
So it is all about the grade level that you are in. I'm just seeing if I'm getting messages. It's about the grade level, not for existing students. It's about your grade level. So your child stays, we've got a lovely family here, their child's going into grade 1. She will be in grade 1, irrespective. Her birth date is exactly what it is, but as applicable to now. New students coming in, we will have a transition period, but eventually the new birth date will be July 31st, but that will only be applicable to new students applying. All UIA current students and already applied students and already accepted students will maintain their academic grade. Okay? Hope that answers the question. Right, next one, grade placement. Students will remain, and this is the question we just had, students will remain in their current grade. All grade 12 students graduate in June. Graduation calendar is already aligned for grade 10, 11 and 12. This does not change. So no students are affected by the new school year schedule. The transition year will simply align every academic year to a 12-month year, to a 12-month academic year. And you can see there, there's the current system, all right, and there's the new system. All right, so it begins kindergarten, everybody's August through to July, and then the current system is April through to June, July, June sort of thing. But after this, the only variation will be grade 12 will finish school in June, everybody else will finish in July. It's beautiful symbiosis. It's to be honest, it's the way that every other school operates. You don't have to read this, but this is all the birth dates and adjustments of where people will be. So this is the tentative eligibility chart for academic year for new students coming in. Again, we just want to make sure that everybody understands where everybody's at. I will share this out. Michelle, you have another question?
Yes, so this is from Ms. I'm assuming this is Aditi's parent. For the 9th graders, the next year, which is 10th grade, will be in the extended year.
Correct.
Then why is the portion for grade 9 still at the same pace? Will it not be better to give less burden in the grade 9 as the students have extra time in 10th grade? Well,
they don't have extra time because the calendar for grade 9 and 10 hasn't changed. Right, the calendar for grade 10 doesn't change. They're still in the extended year, they're still in the same time frames. All right? So it'll be an opportunity for grade 9 in the extended year to actually do more revision, more deeper diving into the content because they are going to be in there. The grade 10s will be into their IGCSE exams. The grade 9s will have an opportunity to go deeper diving into their preparation for grade 10 because they'll be on their 16-month academic year. I hope that answers the question. If your question doesn't get answered here this morning, everybody, feel free. You can send me an email. Yeah, everybody pretty much knows my email address. You can reach out, and I'm more than happy to walk people through with these things if there are other questions. We have another question?
Yes, this is about the fees again.
Okay.
So it says extra explanation of the fee is not clear, please explain the annual fee with an example for, let's say, grade 5. For academic year 2025, the transition year. Academic year 2026 and 26. So they say from their understanding, during the transition year, they have to pay an extra fee.
No.
This is, what do you have to say?
No.
No.
No, there's no extra fee. The fee is, instead of, if you're paying monthly fee, you just pay 16 months fee and then we change over. You would have to pay your school fee if it's semester 3 or semester 1. It's exactly the same time frame. That we aren't adding any extra time. We haven't created, it's still a 42-week year plus 16 weeks. So there's no extra fee attached onto this as part of the calendar change.
I think the confusion comes in with the, because there's another question on the fees. I think it comes in because the year after is when the school fees are increasing. 2025, 26.
The proposed increase in tuition has nothing to do with the calendar.
Okay, because it says the fee structure for extended semester 3 will be of the current grade 2024 to 2025, or higher fee of grade level at 2025-26.
Right, okay. Now that has to do with a tuition increase, not to do with the calendar change.
Okay. I think that should clear it up.
Okay? That has to do with the tuition increase, not the calendar change. Okay. Now, I got a question. I had a question about the holidays. All right. So here's a breakdown of all the holidays. People worried about, oh, it's going to upset everything, and people have, they might have some children in Japanese schools or whatever it might be. The holidays are all exactly the same. There's our first day is April 1st, 2025. All right. Golden Week will still be that. The summer break will still be 28 July to 26th of August. Winter break will still be that. That's 2025. 2026, spring break will be there. Golden Week will still be there. Last day will be July 24th. Our last day this year is July 26th. So you can see, even on the change of calendar, all the holidays are exactly the same. Christmas will still be Christmas. One thing that we do know that we're going to have to do is, in the new academic year of 12 months, we're going to have to put an extra break in for in October, because the new academic year will start in the end of August, and then in our current calendar, our next break is not until December, and we know that we're going to need to put in a 1 week, a 1 week rest for everybody. And the proposal will be, it'll be sort of 11th of October, 15th of October, about halfway through that period. But that is the only change, and that's an extra week of holiday that we will take from various parent-teacher conferences and days in lieu and et cetera, so it won't dramatically change any of the holidays, but everything else pretty much aligns up to where it is now. So that was one of the questions from our survey. All right, transfer to other schools. All right, aligning to a calendar used by international schools in Japan, Southeast Asia, Europe, and the United States. This would align with over 95% of Northern Hemisphere schools. If you are transferring to Northern Hemisphere, another Northern Hemisphere school, or an Asian school, you are actually aligned better to change than what the current calendar does. Most schools, every school, and I've been in schools internationally for close to 20 years, every one of my schools thus far runs August to July or August to June. So you transferring to another school, if you're transferring to a Japanese school, all right, and it's a valid question. We have students that transfer to Japanese schools. On the new calendar, a student starting at UIA in August will have completed 28 weeks of an academic year, 2/3 of their academic year. Now, most schools will recognise that as sufficient to recognise that that would progress them into the next grade level. They're not going to say, all right, you've done 28 weeks in grade 4. No, we're going to put you in grade 4 again. There is no logical sequence. And if they do an entrance exam, I think that our grade 4 student would still be able to have the basic skills and experience of grade 4 to be able to move into another school as grade 5. Universities in Japan have an April and September start, accommodating 50 other international schools in Japan. I think that you get another question?
It's about the fees. So what I'm doing is I'm just compiling it all into a Word document. So I think you could maybe address that.
Right, okay. Cool, thank you. Any questions from...
This is about the calendar.
Right.
So just for clarification, I am seeing the fees questions. I'm compiling them for Mr. Taylor to answer at the end. But with regards to the new question, it says the calendar change is just under consideration, or will it be changed for sure? We all know a good bunch of kids are in UIA are Indian or Japanese, where school starts from April to March. Kids will lose a year if they're not on the same calendar. So it's definitely, the calendar is going to change.
We have not made a firm commitment to it yet, and this is all part of the process. I think, but when you look at 59%, almost 60% of our community has voted yes, that would be a strong indication that the community thinks this is the best thing forward for the school.
And just again about if someone born in July or August would stay in the same UIA calendar year schedule, and a new joinee or new student born on the same month and year joins one grade higher, then I do not think that it would be fair on my child, because they'll be losing a year of school. They're not losing the year. They're not
losing a year of school. The new entrance date for a child will be 31st of July. Now, there is potential over the next few years that if the months didn't work out well, if the months work out the way they work out, and this happens now anyway, sometimes we will have a student, there may be 12 months difference in age in an academic year between children. That's just the nature of, if the child enters in at the very beginning of the cutoff and another child enters at the very end of the cutoff, there's 12 months between them. In this academic extended year, because we have an extra 16 weeks, there's potential that we might have students that might be 15 months or 16 months difference in their age. But that's a new student coming in. Now, if you're a student, and you can tell, from your own schooling, okay, there were students that were 12 months younger than you in your same grade. That doesn't make any difference to them. They just know they're in grade 5 or they're in grade 6 or they're in grade 7. So what they're saying is actually not true. The child will still be in the same grade at the same age appropriate level with the same learning progression that will allow them to then graduate in June of whatever year they're going to graduate. All right? All right. You always finish with all the positive feedback. All right? So it's always good to finish, and we can take questions from the audience at the end of this. I have not touched any of these. I haven't edited them. I haven't, made sure we've addressed all the concerns. So it allows our students to take full advantage of the curriculum. Though my son will be passing out by then, I'm only happy that it helps the school to make a good mark. I think UIA should align the academic year with the Cambridge calendar. Totally agree. That's the best way for the students to start a new academic year. This change can facilitate smoother transitions for students transferring between schools, universities, etc. It works better internationally and creates more opportunities worldwide. I think switching to August calendar year makes learning more optimal, as students don't have to juggle with too many things at the same time, yielding better academic performance. I have no questions. I support the change. It will be helpful going forward with university admissions. Academic year and board exams should align. specifically for higher grade kids. This will be great. We even support the immediate transition. Some people would like this to happen now. And it's not the first time I've actually heard this. People said, well, what are we waiting for? Why don't we get this on? So there's some of the positives. So that's, I just grabbed all the positives and throw them in. Now, some of the collateral benefits for us as a school. I know that our parents get a little bit frustrated when we have a teacher leave and we can't get an immediate replacement. Part of that being, we have to wait for the quality teachers or the teachers to finish up their academic years now. So we've got 3 teachers about to start who have just finished their own academic years. And we have substitute teachers who do a fantastic job, but we can't get the teachers from their other schools until they finish their own academic years. So this will actually benefit the logistics of learning, but it'll also, we currently are a little bit one hand tied behind our back in recruitment of teachers, because we either have to take teachers that are working in Japanese systems, or we have to support classes with substitute teachers until we can get the teachers in July, August. Once we move to this academic calendar, we now have the opportunity to recruit from all Northern Hemisphere teachers. So that immediately increases our pool by 300, 400, 500%. And so then we can really start to pick and choose great quality teachers because we have so much more availability. So that's one of the really good things. Again, from my perspective, it aligns us with other schools, the other big international schools here. UIA, once we achieve our WASP accreditation, we will then go for JACAS accreditation, which is the Japan Council of International Schools. All of those schools are on a Northern Hemisphere calendar. You know, our sports program currently right now is not running because we're a member of an association where everybody works in the Northern Hemisphere. And everybody knows what great things we've been able to, Mr. Edwards been able to do with our sports program, but we're not offering anything right now because all of our association schools are on summer holidays. So again, we're not getting those opportunities to provide for students because our calendar doesn't align. So that's it. I've done a lot of talking. I'm sure that there are probably other questions. Not many. Happy to, and I'm happy to take questions from the audience here. Sorry, I've got my back to the. My apologies, everybody in the internet land. What have we got, Michelle?
Okay, so I think a lot of parents are under the impression that it's 3.5, or sorry, that's 1.5 years instead of just 3 months, technically.
18 weeks.
18 weeks extra. So someone asked, will the tuition for kindergarten, for example, will they pay tuition fees for the about tuition fee, for example, for kindergarten, since program will be 3.5 years, which is not right, because of the extended year, instead of paying 3 years tuition fees, will it be 3.5 years? No.
No.
No. Okay, so that one is they do not pay.
You don't pay.
No.
You don't pay. They're not. If we left it as it was, if the calendar stays as it was, that child would progress into grade 1 and they'd be paying grade 1 fees.
Yeah. Then someone asked how many months of tuition fees in the academic year of 2026?
2025, 26 or
Yes.
2026, 27?
They just said academic year 26. I'm assuming 2025, 2026.
There's an extra 17 weeks, 18 weeks. So it's an extra, we've worked it out to be 16 months.
16 months, okay. Then someone says, can you please give a breakdown of the fees for the assessment year 2025-26 semester 3 and the assessment year 2026-27 for better understanding?
Right.
That's the fee increase here, I'm assuming.
I can't release about a fee increase because the management hasn't finalised what that fee increase is. So there will be information coming out about that very shortly, I know. It's been a discussion at the management level, and that increase will be made public to UIA community in the not too distant future.
This is about the holidays. Someone
Yes.
said, can you consider increasing winter vacation instead of an October break? Also, I'm not sure, but compared to other international schools which start the academic year in August, their summer break is a lot earlier. It will be great if UIA can start summer break at least July mid instead of July end because of the harsh heat of the summer HVAC.
Okay.
I like that.
It's not an uncommon one, and it's a good point we raised. What we're adopting we're doing big changes, and we want we don't want to turn around and say, all right, we're going to change this, we're going to change this, we're going to change this. Let's change the calendar first. Let's get everybody used to it, and then let's start to look at the tweaks. Like that one there is a very valid one. You know, let's think to ourselves, okay, let's start the academic year in mid-August, and then let's finish in early July. You know, late June. Get out of here, get everybody out of here over the harsh summer months, and that then does align, and potentially maybe extend. We have talked about expanding the summer break. We haven't talked about expanding Christmas break, and to be honest, 3 weeks in most schools. A lot of schools do 2 weeks. We do 3. To do that, that would then mean our students would not have a substantive breaks, and the staff and the parents, from August 22nd till December 15. So that's September, October, November, half of December. So that's 3.5 months without a substantive break. That's a lot of work for students, and we think that just throwing a week's break in there. But again, this will be a discussion in 2026, this will be once we've got them moving on. So we're going to try and be quite stable, quite conservative with our changes, because we believe this is a fairly big change already.
Yeah, so that just leads into Mr. Joseph's question about could we align with the spring, summer, autumn break of the US and the UK schools?
Look, the old saying is I think it was JFK, John F. Kennedy. You can please some of the people some of the time, a few people most of the time. You can't please all the people all the time, and that's one of these. You know, we will try and align with what's good for the school. It might have been Abraham Lincoln, actually. But we will try and align with as much as we can. You know, part of the downside of that alignment is travel costs go up. You know, so if everybody's going on holidays at the same time in Japan, you know that JAL and ANA are going to lift their prices, you know, so they know these things. They know what are the holiday periods. So yes, I 100% agree with you. What we want to be is a really boring, aligned calendar with everybody else as much as possible, you know, because boring is easy to be effective.
This is a question that says, will the school recruit IELTS/CELTA certified teachers? I'm not sure.
We are looking at expanding. We've expanded our ESL program, and I'm assuming the person's asking about ESL support. We are providing ESL support for the first time in secondary high school this year. We do want to continue to build our ESL program, and I won't necessarily employ IELTS or CELTA teachers, but I will employ education teachers that have ESL backgrounds that can support our program. I think that's what that person's asking. Yes, we want to have a stronger ESL program. I want to be able to give admissions to a Japanese child, a Chinese child, a Korean child, an African child who doesn't speak English, but we have a program that we can support them to transition into better English in the school. One of the greatest successes of one of my schools in Singapore is we had a girl come in, she was from Myanmar, and she came in as an ESL student and ended up getting the top grade in grade 12 when she graduated. And I think that that's one of the great successes that I've held on to, and that's the sort of supportive ESL environment we want to try and create for UIA. I digress. Keep going, Michelle.
Okay, so this is from Mr. Mustafa. My daughter is currently in 8th grade. Does the proposed timeline push back in any way the time when she will be taking her exit exams? According to the exam timetables for Zone 5, Cambridge ones, there appears to be exit exams from April to June as well as from September to November. So we're not on. We
do not. We as a school do not do September November series.
The answer is no.
The answer is no.
Okay.
Well, sorry, I qualify that. We do exit exams in Hindi because it's the only time the Hindi exit exams are offered.
Then extended semester year fee must be applied from the current grade level instead of 2025-2026, as the grade level fee is higher and it's a burden on parents for extended session. That's not a decision we can make. Just make.
No.
It's a discussion with management that
That's there's the confirmation time and the schedule for the tuition increase has not been announced yet, and I think that'll be a question that should be reserved for then.
Okay. So this question was posed, but I think it was misunderstood by me. It says, how many months of tuition fee for academic year 2025-2026?
16.
And then second, how many months of tuition fees for 2026-2027?
I can give you, so 2026-2027 should be 42. The same as this year. The academic year, this year's academic year is 42 weeks. In 2026-2027, from August to July, it'll be pretty much 41 or 42 weeks again.
Okay. Then just to double check, if kids stay at UIA from kindergarten, K1 until grade 12, tuition fee will be for 15 years. But the calendar change will be for 15 and a half. Or
no,
there's no increase.
No
increase.
No, there's no change because students still graduate in June. That's the bottom line. Students still graduate. We're not adding time on. And this has been the major rock we've built this on is grade 10, 11 and 12 are already on the calendar the school intends to try and move towards. Any other questions, Michelle?
One more. This is just more sort of a comment than a question.
Yeah.
Aligning school breaks with the US and the UK schools will be totally unacceptable. The schools in Japan and holidays or breaks will have to be in line with the Japanese calendar, especially when parents are working in Japan. For the fees, there's too many, that's fine. So for the fees, I just want to emphasize, I am recording all questions and I will share them with Mr. Taylor afterwards, so.
Good.
Yeah.
And again, to that question about the holidays, we are not changing the timing of any holidays from our current calendar. So parents that have got their work aligned with our current calendar will have exactly the same scenario on all future calendars as it stands right now.
Someone asked for any questions regarding management, can we, I'm assuming the school, please communicate or set up a channel for the parents to, I assume, direct the questions through? That's the question's a little bit unclear.
Right. Look, principal at uia.jp is always your first direct response if you've got questions. I obviously sit in on the management meeting with Mr. Sagita and Mr. Yamashita every Wednesday afternoon, and these are exactly the sort of things that we talk about. So if you've got something you'd like me to raise at the management meeting, please, like I said, principal at uia.jp. Michelle, you can put that into the chat box if people want it. Feel free to drop me a line. That's it. Anything from the floor? You're good? Good? Okay.
One more. My daughter's birthday is between April and July. In the new academic year, she will finish grade 12 in July at the age of 19. According to the Japanese schedule, she can enter university in April at the age of 18. Can she take university entrance exams during grade 12 in winter? If she takes the entrance exams after graduating, she will be a year behind on the Japanese schedule.
We do not do November series Cambridge exams. We as a school have made a conscious decision that with this, our academic year aligns with the May series Cambridge exams. We don't have the resources, okay? We don't have the support to be able to complete courses to offer the November series Cambridge exams.
Do you mind if I give a comment there from past experiences with this?
Right, yeah, go, please.
So I used to work at another international school where we were also on that calendar. And we had students who did graduate at 19, and they just with either it was Waseda or Keio, the big private universities as well in Japan, they did enter at the age of 19 in the September intake. So a lot of these students, because they're in an international school, for most of their life, they opt to go for the English courses, or they opt to go for some Japanese courses, and that can be discussed with Ms. Mami, our university counselor, and she can help direct that. It's not unusual. I know it's not traditional, but it's not unusual for people to start university at the age of 19 when they are on the Cambridge system.
Good. And on top of that, the universities here in Japan now, you know, you're looking at the other big universities, Temple University, Sophia, Tokyo International University, they all have September intakes, all right? Which means our students finish their graduation in June, they get a nice little break, and they start preparing to go to university in September, all right? So we've got some of our high achieving grade 12 students are going to Kyushu University in highly prestigious courses starting in September. So the options are okay. There might be some things might have sort of reduced out of this, but there is certainly lots more flexibilities. The universities want to take students.
2 more questions.
Right.
I already know the answer for this one, but instead of distributing the existing students, why not introduce this change for new students from grade 1? And I'm going to assume it's because we cannot run on 2 calendars.
We cannot run on 2 calendars. We do not have the resources to be able to adopt that approach. It'd be lovely if we did, but having worked with schools that run 2 calendars, oh, it's not good.
As a teacher, I am begging you, please.
Yeah. Okay, next question. But good flexible thinking.
Yeah, this is again about the fees. So again, I'm recording this. Please provide a tentative increase school fee structure for the academic year 2025-26. There's not a lot of clarity given on this subject. Well,
I've repeatedly said that this is a proposed increase, that management hasn't released anything. So when you say there's not a lot of clarity, yes, you're right, because nothing has been released yet. All right. There will be clarity once we release the tuition increase. Okay, but thank you for your question. That's as much information as I can give as I have available to me right now. Oh.
4 minutes, but no question.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for coming together on this hot and steamy Saturday morning. Stay cool, enjoy your summer break. I almost wore the new summer school shirt, which we received yesterday. All the kids are super excited about it. It's a great looking shirt. There's animals and all that sort of stuff. Looking forward to seeing everybody over summer school. Looking forward to everybody having a great summer break. Looking forward to seeing everybody back in school on August the 28th. Don't forget, this is not the last of these sessions. We've had a couple of great sessions with the community this week. Looking forward to more opportunities to talk with the parents and hear your feedback. Thanks, everybody. Have a good Saturday. Did you notice how many? Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.